This is the Brave New Coin Crypto Conversation, hosted by Andy Pickering.
Hi everyone, Andy Pickering here. I'm your host and welcome to the Crypto Conversation, a Brave New Coin podcast where we talk to the people building the future in the Bitcoin, blockchain and cryptocurrency space. My guest today is Brian Bondy. Brian is the co-founder, CTO, and I think lead developer at Brave Software, which of course is the developer of Brave, the open source web browser. And Brave is a privacy-focused browser, which is, kind of one of the big things for Brave. But we'll get into all of this. Web3, crypto. Welcome to the show, Brian.
Thanks, Andy. Glad to be here.
To begin with, Brian, we'll do what we always do at the beginning of the show. Love it if you could, just give us a sense of your background. I know you're a long-time tech guy. Love to just kind of get a sense of where you've come from, what you've been doing in the lead up to the co-founding of Brave.
So I'm from Ontario, Canada. I grew up on a gardening farm. My father owned a gardening business, growing vegetables, employed like about 100 people or something like that. So I worked there growing up, kind of hated the work there. I was kind of watching the clock all the time and waiting for the hours to pass by until it was finished time. So I knew that work wasn't for me. So eventually I had convinced my mom to call Borland to get my first C++ compiler, and she did that. Over the telephone, because we didn't have internet back then. Got delivered. I went to the bookstore and bought some magazines on C++ and just started learning that way. I kind of started getting into implementing like data structures and algorithms, and eventually Windows 95 came out and I started learning like the Win32 APIs. I had another job after that farming job at a tool and die shop where it was in an office though, and I was entering data into 3 different systems. And I kind of learned I used what I learned with the Win32 API to kind of send messages to all these different systems that had duplicated data. And so I would just enter it once and it would set it to all the different systems. So this is like early high school. And it worked out really well and saved them a lot of time. So they like increased my hourly wage by 4 times. So even like in early high school, I was doing kind of programming jobs. I kind of got obsessed with learning how to build things from scratch, worked on compression libraries, image file formats. I just like took them one at a time, reading the spec and implementing them. Network protocols. So like for the image decoders, I did like ICO, BMP, GIF, JPG, PNGs. And for network protocols, like I implemented from scratch FTP, HTTP, SMTP, POP3. Did like a MSN Messenger and kind of used Nutella. I used Ether something. I can't remember the name of it, but it's now called Wireshark anyways, to look at the network traffic and to analyze it and to figure out how that worked. And then I was able to reverse it and to create a MSN Messenger client for Linux. Then did a lot of computer vision stuff. So like just different things like showing what my webcam's seen, but then converting it to ASCII art on the fly. So different kind of experiments like that. So early days, I was kind of just doing a bunch of these little personal projects, trying to learn things. Eventually that led me to University of Waterloo, computer science department there. I did co-op at a lot of different companies there, like Corel Corporation, Army Simulation Center, as well as a few others. After university, went to Mozilla, Evernote, Khan Academy, co-founded my own business, which we sold eventually to a company in Toronto as well. That's the high level.
It's the high level indeed, and I love that you're not afraid to get into the nitty gritty a little bit, and I guess that's why you're a chief technology officer. I'd love to hear your version then, Brian, of I suppose the Brave origin story, which obviously you famously co-founded with your co-founder Brendan. I haven't actually. I'm not really familiar with the origin story. Probably some people are. You certainly will be yourself. So I'd love to hear your version and how. When did you get to know Brendan, and what was his role, what was your role, and what were the kind of the conversations that led you guys to think there was an opportunity in setting up something like Brave, and what was the Brave vision in, I guess, those very early days?
Yeah, sure. I'll get into that. So I guess the story starts when I was at Mozilla. So after I co-founded my own company, I kind of left that company to do, well, we sold it, and then I only stayed for less than a year, I guess, to the new owners. And then I went to Mozilla for this 3-month contract deal. So I was working there. The 3-month then became a full-time job quickly thereafter. And I was kind of made a name for myself within Mozilla. I started just as like, at my own company, I was like CTO, but then I went back to just being a generic software engineer. But over time, I worked on a lot of different projects. Like I worked on silent updates, became a peer, which is kind of like a code owner on like Firefox toolkit, image library, widgets, and more. I worked on like performance work, Project Snappy, it was called. I worked on Windows 8 Metro style browser there. And while I was doing all this, I was also blogging about it. So at Mozilla, all the people that blog get syndicated into Planet Mozilla RSS feed. And then a lot of different news articles are written from that. So I think that's where my name kind of got out there, and how Brendan probably learned about my name. So I first met Brendan at a conference. Brendan Eich is for those that don't know, is the co-founder of Mozilla. And also the creator of JavaScript. So I first met him at a conference. My manager at the time introduced me. My manager was describing how I had implemented jumpless, which is like this on Windows, when you kind of have your taskbar and you hold down the icon on it, you can have different options in there. So he was kind of describing that work to Brendan when he's introducing me. And I remember Brendan just being like, yeah, I'm not really sure how important that is to us. So it's kind of like crushed on my first meeting him. And yeah, like he was like kind of like a micro celebrity. So to me as a developer, he's like a celebrity, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was that meeting. And then another Mozilla Summit after that, I knew I was leaving for Khan Academy at the time, and I just wanted to get a picture with him. So I had to like take the whole night and kind of worked up the courage to get a picture with him. So I did that as well. So I left Mozilla for Khan Academy. I worked there for, I don't know, a year or two, I can't remember. And then in August 2014, Brendan sent me a Twitter message and just asked me to message him. So there was only like these 2 very brief meetings that I had with him at the time. So I kind of turned to my wife. I think we were sitting in bed at the time, and I'm like, weird, the creator of JavaScript just asked me to message him. I wonder why. My wife's like, well, he obviously wants to offer you a job. And I'm like, there's no way. So I emailed him, and he did in fact want to offer me a job, and he described it as a big, in quotes, new startup. So I come to learn later that he was maintaining like a spreadsheet of top talent that he wanted to contact for future things. So at first he just kind of wanted Windows talent when he messaged me, but we got to talking for a few months, and we kind of planned out what Brave would be and how it would be built and things like that, all the nitty-gritty details. And then, so that was from August 2014 to January 2015. In January 2015, we kind of started getting the contracts and things like that set up, and the company actually founded, and seed funding in line. May 2015 was my first day full-time on the job, basically.
Nice. And well, it's one thing to, anyone can go to the Brave browser website, where you can find out all about the vision for the browser, download it, install it, all that kind of stuff. But I'm sure as the CTO, you would probably have a unique way of describing what the Brave vision is, really, Brian. So let's do that. What are you guys doing to kind of I guess set yourself apart from other browsers?
Yeah, so Brave is kind of about owning your own data and ditching big tech, browsing privately, searching privately, all that kind of good stuff. So like the main product that we first came out with was a web browser. So like Chrome, Internet Explorer, Safari. Um, but the difference being that it doesn't track you. So we put the user first and put the user in control. Like today, MAU wise, we have over 50 million users. MAU means monthly active users. But just to compare, at the end of 2020, we were only at 24 million. And each year before that, it was half of that. So we've been doubling every year. We also expect to double this year as well. And then there's the bad side of this as well, where there's verified creators, which we'll probably get into a little bit later in the call, but we have 1.4 million of those. Brave kind of has this built-in tracking protection. So the tracking protection makes it so you have less CPU, less memory, less network that's used in your typical browser sessions. Very heavy on the privacy features. So like not only do we block things, but we also have automated systems, like an automated system named Sugarcoat, which stubs things out. So like a typical tracking script, if you just block it, you might get an error on the page, and then that'll lead to a web compat problem. But this Sugarcoat thing kind of makes it so that the library that I guess a page is using will be stubbed out, and it won't cause any errors, but it just won't track you at the same time. We also do things like removing tracking parameters from URLs and get rid of bouncing, like when a site kind of bounces you between a tracker and then back to the destination, just for the purpose of tracking you. And then if you actually search on Google for deviations from Chromium, there's at least 50 things that we block. And then it also has like built-in fingerprinting protection, using a new method actually called farbling, which instead of blocking or trying to make everyone look the same, we basically make each individual session look different every time that you go to a page. So that's the browser. There's also search. There's VPN on iOS and soon on Android and desktop as well. There's news, speed reader, wallet, and of course, like the Brave ads as well, which is an opt-in system.
And even you've got a VPN on iOS, yes, and Tor as well,
Yep.
Brian.
Yeah, that's right. There's also even like a built-in web torrent as well, and there's Tor as well, like you said. So we have kind of, most browsers have two modes, like private browser mode and normal mode. We actually have three, so it's normal mode, private browser mode, and Tor mode, which can also protect your IP, which the other browsers don't do.
And it's like kind of the well, it's the easiest way possible to use Tor. I mean, that's kind of a strange way of saying it, but that's kind of because it really is just, you just select open a new window effectively using Tor, and there you have it. That's right.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. There's also Tor browser, which is built on Gecko. That's even like, I would say, a step further in protecting you than what Brave does. Brave still does like the basic Tor support though, and has a ton of protections, but using Tor, you might find that it's slow. So you might not want to use it all the time.
Yeah.
You might find a lot of web compat problems as well.
So how many, do you have a sort of a rough idea of, what percentage of people using Brave would be using that Tor option?
I would think that, I don't have the data on that, but I would think it's probably pretty low, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for people that do use it, I think that they use it selectively. They don't want to, because of the speed thing that I said, like they wouldn't want to use it for all different
and is that, obviously, one of some of the main reasons why people use Tor, they might be doing activities in a particular country that put them at risk of the various authorities, things like that, as well as slightly more, I don't know, just dubious grey area internet type activity. Is that you get the full protection of the Tor network just by using that option in Brave? It's the same as using the kind of the Tor native client, if that's the right way to put it.
Yeah, and it also has some of the benefits that VPN has as well. Like if you pick an exit node, for example, from a different country, you can appear like you're browsing the web from that country. So it's a good way to skirt geo protections, I guess, against certain content.
Totally. How do you think the, there's this kind of wider discussion around, I guess, privacy and ads, tracking, not tracking, just internet data privacy in general. But as you'll be only too well aware, Brian, it's probably still fair to say that the vast majority of internet users, they're just not that. They don't care enough to really engage with these services, because they're opting for that kind of, if they can just have the free products, the seamless, easy user experience, they're prepared to give up their data and watch some ads. That's kind of the story of Web 2.0. Sure, there's a big discussion happening around Web 3 and where we're going, and we'll get into that. But how do you sort of think about the trade-offs and the choices and getting people to understand them and opt to have better internet practices, if you like?
Yeah, so like just by using Brave, you'll find that like all the trackers are blocked. We inadvertently will sometimes block ads as well, because there are good ads that we try not to block, but some of them are inadvertently blocked. So what we do provide though in the product is like an opt-in Brave ads system. So it's off by default. You can opt into it. Now you might think like, why the heck would you want to opt into ads? The reason is because you get paid in BAT if you do. And these Brave ads are kind of completely different than how the web works. So the web basically, when you're going to like, I don't know, like Facebook, for example, they're collecting your data, they're sharing your data throughout many different sites. They're building a profile for you. How the Brave ads work when you turn them on is a big giant ad catalog can get delivered to your device. And then your device matches based on local data only, nothing that Brave knows. Brave the company, I mean, only Brave the browser that's installed on the device knows. And it can do that matching using machine learning and target the right relevant ads for you to do. And then also reward you for your content. So it's a real new way to kind of monetize ad views. Now this then goes to like the publishers, the content creators, in the form of auto contributions that happen in our browser and also through tipping.
Yeah, and so to do that, you did use the term BAT. A lot of people will know what that is. A lot won't, though. So you're talking about basic attention token. So yeah, it'd be good maybe, Brian, if you just briefly explain what basic attention token is. And I love the word attention here because it's that's kind of core to the concept, and yeah, how that ties into the rewards program and creators being able to get paid, and yeah, that kind of circular economy, I guess.
Right. Yeah. So basic attention token, also named BAT for short, is ERC20 token on the Ethereum network, although it's been since bridged to a lot of different blockchains at this point as well. So it doesn't only exist on Ethereum, but by default, that's where it's at. It was basically a token sale that we did, and I believe it was something like $36 million was raised in under 30 seconds. So it sold out extremely fast. What it's used for is like, I'll start with kind of like advertisers, users, and publishers. So like, to understand the concept, like an advertiser first wants to advertise, right, on the Brave ecosystem, whether that be the Brave browser right now for opted-in users or through Brave Search later. So what they do is they buy ads. So they can either buy ads with BAT or they can buy ads with USD. Now, if they use USD, Brave, the company, in turn uses that USD and buys BAT with it. And then it actually distributes 70% of those tokens to the users that are opted in for those rewards. Users themselves, the ones that are opted in, gets the rewards and then pays the publishers. And the publishers, you can, if you're a publisher or a content creator, you can go to creators.brave.com. You can create an account. And the way that it works is that you kind of verify your website, or you verify your YouTube channel or your Twitch or your Twitter account or your GitHub account, etc. And then that actually enables basic browsing to auto contribute to you. And it also enables users of the browser to, there's a little triangle icon in the Brave browser. And if you press that on a website and the user's a verified creator, it'll give the option to tip using some predefined amounts to that content creator as well, if you like their content.
Yeah, that is exactly right. Well, let's, I I know that you guys are starting to move towards the wonderful world of crypto and even deeper ways, Brian. So before we talk about that, because I know there's a new Brave wallet, there's an upcoming integration with Solana. I'd love to get your personal thoughts on, I suppose, yeah, I mean, whatever you want to share, really, you know, crypto, NFTs, DeFi, blockchain, how you think Web3 is evolving.
Yeah, sure. So like Web3 is the decentralization of the web and introduction, I guess, of the token-based economy. On a practical level, it's kind of like giving websites the ability to access different blockchains. So starting with Ethereum and now with other EVM compatible. EVM compatible just means basically it works the exact same as Ethereum, but it's a copy of it, and they might have some deviations from it. But for all purposes, the wallet interacts with the blockchain in the same way. So we have a built-in wallet inside Brave. For those that are familiar with it, it works exactly like MetaMask. It exposes the same API to websites, and websites can use it to talk to the blockchain. So the Brave wallet is a self-custody wallet. So that means that you own the private key, and as they say, like, not your keys, not your crypto. If you lose those keys as well, then you lost your funds as well. So there's no way to be like, we lost our password, Brave, can you find it for us? So, no, we can't. So backup of like those seed words when you first create a wallet is very important. We started off as a fork of MetaMask named Crypto Wallets, but MetaMask changed their license to not be an open license. And so we were kind of stuck with an outdated fork that we'd have to build on. And that's why we decided to kind of redo this wallet and to make a native built into Chromium top-notch wallet. So we hired a team mostly from within the company of a lot of the top talent here. And we've been hacking away at that for about 1.5 years now. A lot of people might be familiar with MetaMask. Some of the downsides is that like it's using outdated node version. There's a lot of dependencies. Top level dependencies is like 270 of them, and total dependencies is about 2,755 of them. And then you have to think that a lot of those dependencies are getting injected into every website that you visit when you're using MetaMask. So that's like a lot of security risk if one of those NPM packages got compromised, for example. So we think that our wallet is implemented in a much more safe way. Also, since it's built into Chromium, there's no like extra background process that's running from an extension. The memory footprint's smaller, the CPU is smaller. Yeah, so the wallet itself has like prices from CoinGecko built into it, has the ability to do swaps, work with DApps. If you do use MetaMask, you can kind of import your seed phrase directly just with a click of a button. You can buy with Wire, and we're adding other options there too. Evm compatibility, so just the ability to add other chains to your wallet as you'd like, and to add different tokens, whether they be ERC20s, 721 or 1155 tokens, multi-token standard. And then you can also use it just with hardware wallets like Ledger or Trezor, and of course NFTs as well.
And so if I, you talk about a lot of people using MetaMask. There's a lot of MetaMask users around the world, probably in the millions, to be honest. And well, you're exactly right, Brian. You know, there are so countless stories of people just slipping up and losing their assets from MetaMask. There's a lot of different, I guess, attack or loss vectors with MetaMask. A lot of it is just kind of user naivety, clicking on something they shouldn't, or talking to someone they shouldn't on Twitter or Discord or something like that. It's a tough lesson to learn, but everyone learns it one way or the other. Yeah, where am I going with this? I was going to say, the vast majority of MetaMask users these days, I think, Brian, is people that are collecting NFTs on, marketplaces such as OpenSea. So can I go to OpenSea and use my Brave wallet to engage with my NFTs on OpenSea?
Yeah, exactly. It's the exact same thing. Wallets are kind of more than just holding your tokens nowadays. Like they're really about being the Dap browser itself. So it's a really natural fit within Brave wallet. And like on desktop, you can install extensions to do that and have a full browser experience. Like if you wanted to, you can use Chrome and you can use MetaMask installed in Chrome and you can access dApps. But when you move over to the mobile space, iOS and Android, um, using a wallet there, there's no extensions like on Chrome, for example. So you can't just install MetaMask in Chrome on mobile. Um, so the browser experience was what I'm trying to say is not very good. You just kind of have this web view and it doesn't have all the full browser experience. So that's where I think Brave Wallet's going to shine is especially on mobile where there's no competition really for a full native browser that has access to this decentralized world.
Yeah, that's that's well said, Brian. And what about I mentioned the Solana integration. What is the thinking there?
Yeah, so Solana is a really up and coming popular blockchain, has a lot of developer interest. We're getting very close to initial support. So that's like support for sending SPL tokens, sending Sol itself. That's going to be ready. At least we have like these different browser channels. There's a release channel, which most people use. There's also early access on beta channel and also on nightly. And when something lands, it kind of takes 4 weeks to go from nightly to beta and then 4 weeks to go from beta to release. And so if you want early access, like the day after someone develops it, you can always just use Brave Nightly and see it. So very soon we're going to have that basic support on nightly. And also the Dap support, which is going to be basically the same as with Phantom. So just like how we have Ethereum similar to MetaMask, we're going to have the exact same support as Phantom exposed for the Phantom wallet users for the Solana ecosystem. So the main advantage is if you're doing like a transaction or swap, it's like a fraction of a cent. Whereas in Ethereum, if you're doing a swap, I haven't done one recently, but like about a month ago, it was like $200 to do a single swap, which is insane. So 0.1 cent versus $200 it makes a big difference.
It does make a big difference. So yeah, I mean, we have really seen the rise of Solana last year, and all these other different smart contract platforms as well. Avalanche, Polygon, and so on. How do you watch all these platforms, different smart contract blockchains? How closely are you watching these different ecosystems to see the kind of the relative advantages and disadvantages of each?
Pretty closely, yeah. So like we already have support for all those EVM networks, like you mentioned, like Avalanche, Avalanche Chain at least, Polygon, Binance Smart Chain. We also just added swapping for all those built into the wallet as well, and that's coming out in 2 weeks on the 137X, or you could use it today on nightly or beta channel. So yeah, we have basically parity for most of those chains, Optimism, etc. For Solana, we'll actually get into integrating more with the reward system on chain as well. Whereas for the other ones, it's mainly just inside the wallet itself.
And what sort of user growth are you seeing with users of the Brave wallet, Brian? Like how fast is all this stuff being adopted from your perspective?
Don't have very many stats on that yet, but like when you install Brave, there's a top level wallet icon. So I think a lot of users are naturally finding it. There is also like we are lucky enough very early on to be kind of adopted by the crypto community even before we had many crypto features.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's a lot of crypto savvy users that are using Brave. That a lot of them are still using MetaMask, and they very well can be, but it's like it's not a problem to use it in Brave as in Chrome, just like you can use uBlock instead of using Brave's built-in blocking, or in addition to Brave's built-in blocking. Yeah, but I don't know. I think over time people realize all the features additions that we have, and just that it's a superior wallet. I think that should become obvious over the next year.
Nice. And well, as we start to finish off this part of the podcast, Brian, anything else you're willing to share in terms of what is coming for, I suppose, the Brave ecosystem? Anything else on the roadmap and the product pipeline that we haven't discussed that you can talk about?
Like I said earlier, a VPN coming very soon on Android and desktop. Solana support coming very soon as well. The swaps on the different EVM chains coming in 2 weeks. So a lot of good stuff to look forward to.
Awesome. Well, in that case then, Brian, let's go to a very quick break and then we'll come back. We'll finish off. We'll have some fun. We'll run you through the very famous crypto conversation hot take round.
Sounds good.
In today's crypto market, the team at Brave New Coin are the sector's leading builders of custom crypto indices. BNC's powerful indexing engine draws on Brave New Coin's premium data to calculate high-frequency intraday and end-of-day indices for a wide range of index products. BNC's custom indices help you to gain exposure to the crypto assets class and track your performance against the market without having to become a stock picker. Brave New Coin's custom indices team delivers experienced consultancy, premium data, and trusted calculation. Contact BNC today to find out more.
All right, we're back and I'm with Brian Bondy. Brian is the co-founder and CTO at the Brave browser and the Basic Attention Token system. Brian, I like to finish each podcast with a quick round of rapid-fire crypto conversation hot takes. Are you up for it?
Definitely, let's do it.
All right, no right or wrong way to do this. Just want quick, snappy answers, hot take style. You know how we go. Brian, the first question is, where would you say that you sit on, I suppose, the Bitcoin maximalist to multi-chain opportunist spectrum?
Well, given that I'm working on DApps and things like that, I would say more towards the multi-chain, but maybe only 60% towards the multi-chain.
Nice. I like it. Okay, well, Brian, what would you say is your firmest conviction crypto opinion?
I think probably that things are going towards the token economy and that Bitcoin only grows stronger over time.
Nice. Yeah, we can. Both of those options can be true for sure. Bill Gates famously said, Brian, that we tend to overestimate what we can accomplish in 2 years and underestimate what we can accomplish in 10. I'm sure as a CTO, you'll be only too familiar with that. Whatever you like here, but Web3, blockchain, what does it look like in 10 years' time?
So I think things just get easier to use, like Web3 not being a skill that you need to have acquired. You just naturally use it for everyone, kind of like email is natural for everyone today. I could see like ownership for physical items being legally recognized on blockchains via NFT minting. And then just like the Brave goal itself of having users in control of their own data.
Very nice. Well, I guess the flip side of that is, famous sci-fi author William Gibson. He said, of course, that the future is already here. It's just not evenly distributed. With that in mind, Brian, can you think of an example of the future being here right now, but most people just aren't really aware of it?
Yeah, it's easy. Browser market share is a good example of that. So a lot of people are still on Chrome. They could be using Brave, where we have built-in wallet, we have a built-in IPFS node that's managed, decentralized domains, access to a lot of the web that people just don't even know that it exists yet.
Exactly right. All right, well, time to zoom out, time to get weird just for a second. Brian, what do you see as the long-term future for the human race? Do you see dystopia or utopia?
I think realistically it's neither. Whether good or bad, I think everything's up for disruption.
Yeah. It's always a balance, push-pull of both directions. Finally, Brian, what is your favorite science fiction book, film, TV show, or universe?
I would say Lord of the Rings. I go back to that every few years and read the series. I'm a fan.
Nice. Well, yeah, that reminds me, because I was kind of flicking through your website yesterday, and you've got a list of books that you've read over the years, things that you thought were relevant at the time you read them, and I think some of the first entries, the Harry Potter collection and the Lord of the Rings collection, right?
Yeah. I go over those a couple times every few years.
And lastly, Brian, I saw also, just kind of stalking through your website, you're an ultra marathon guy. Is that still the case?
Yeah, I went for a 35-kilometer run, 36-kilometer run this morning.
Just a casual short run there, and yeah, I mean, wow, that's good stuff.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm mostly into backyard ultras. They're called kind of race format where you do 4.16667 miles every hour on the hour, and the races just keep going until one person's left.
Wow, that is absolutely crazy. You must be one of you'd be in the top percentile of fit people in the world, I reckon.
I don't know about that. I think body types favor the smaller distance, faster people.
Right. Okay. This has been fun, Brian. Thank you for coming on the show today. Nothing else to say really, except hand the metaphorical microphone back to your good self. I guess, tell the people where they can find you on Twitter or wherever you hang out on the internet, and why people should, if they're not already, start using Brave.
Yeah, so just the Brave Twitter is just twitter.com/Brave, and my Twitter is twitter.com/Brian Bondy. So feel free to hit me up. I'm pretty responsive on there.
Awesome. Thanks very much, Brian. All the best, and bye for now.
All right, thanks for having me.
All right, there you go. That was Brian from Brave. Fascinating guy, and it's always interesting talking to really technical people, because they just explain things in such a kind of a matter-of-fact way, because I'm not technical myself. Listeners, regular listeners will probably be only too well aware of this, but so do you use Brave? I do use Brave. I mean, I'm one of these people, like a lot of people probably. I use multiple browsers, like I use Chrome, and I use Brave as well. But I do like Brave. It's fast. It's super slick and clean, and it does such a good job at blocking ads. And as I say, you can just open up a Tor window if you've got something dodgy you want to use on the internet. Not that I ever do anything dodgy on the internet, but I'm sure some people do. And as always, babbling at the end of the show, as we like to do. But if you are still listening and you haven't used Brave, can't recommend it enough in terms of a crypto-native, crypto-friendly browser from the future. That's what Brave is. Yeah. All right. Thanks for listening, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to the Crypto Conversation so you know when each new episode drops, and please do feel free to give us a 5-star rating, Apple iTunes, all that good stuff. All right, see you real soon. This was the Crypto Conversation for a Brave and New Coin.